Hi, I'm Danny, and these are my Diecast Disasters. Here is a Hot Wheels Bronco four-wheeler. And this was another little car sent to me by Ken. If you check out my recent unboxing video, you'll see me unboxing it there. And so they produced this car from 1981 until 2003, and this was, I think, 1987 to 1990 version. See, it's seen a bit of life. The windscreen at the back's broken. I think it's missing a back cover there. A motorbike on the back of it. It's all metal, so all of the castings are okay. Wheels aren't too bad, but we're not going to be reusing those anyway. Scuffed paint, as you'd expect. So in this video, we're going to be taking this little Bronco and turning it into a cool Prerunner. So there's one post to drill out, and now I should be able to just pop off the base and take it all apart. So there's that nice big thick chunky base, and the wheels, they just fall out. And the interior there looking a bit grubby, might have been in a few mud puddles in its life. And that old poorly looking windscreen, hoping I can salvage that. Okay, there it is all apart. Now we'll start to strip it down using some paint stripper here to remove that old paint. You can see it all bubbling up there, and then I can wash it off, give it a good rinse. And there we go. Still looking a bit oxidized. So we'll give it a clean up with the Dremel. There's a base as well. Never any paint on that, so there's quite a bit of grime and oxidation on there. So I'm just using a nice new wire wheel, and I'll give them a good burnishing. There was a little bit of pitting in the body casting here, but nothing too bad. I did give it a light sand after I'd cleaned it up with the wire brush, but nothing too major. And that base really caked with old gunge and oxidation. It's satisfying to get it nice and clean again. Okay, there's our castings after burnishing. Right, so I did drill out and tap that post as well. There's the base, a nice big thick chunky one. You don't see those very often these days. You can see the detail in the grill there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is take a cutting disc, and I'm going to take the rear gate out of the body casting. Right, there's the gate removed, and there's a couple of little tabs here on the inside. I'll just use a sanding drum to remove those, and also tidy up the cuts on the rear. So here's some 3D parts that I've printed. There's the parts of a little dirt bike there from Thingiverse. And there's also a rear roll cage that I designed. And this is a slicer for my Anycubic resin printer. So I'll print those out. There's the motorcycle parts. I'll put those aside for now. And then here's the roll cage. So I'll take those off of the supports and tidy them up a bit. And back to the truck. So there it is with the rear gate removed and tidied up. So that's going to go on there like that. And I'm going to be able to put my roll cage in the back here. But you can see if I put this interior in and then try to put the roll cage in there, all of that rear seat and all that other stuff is in the way. So I'll have to remove that. Okay, so I take a closer look at the interior and you can see it's actually really grubby. A load of dirt on it, so I'll just take it outside to the sink for a wash. There we go, and next I'm going to use my craft knife here just to cut off the whole rear half behind the front seat there. And so now when I assemble it, the rear roll cage will fit in there nicely behind the front seats. However, it's still a little bit low, so I was thinking I could fabricate a deck for the rear there, but then I decided it'd be easier just to remodel my roll cage with a deck on it. So there you can see there's the rear deck and the wheel wells. And I've also printed some little steering wheels as well, just to replace the Hot Wheels one at the front, which isn't very detailed. Right, so there's the old roll cage, and here's the new one with the deck built in. That fits nicely behind there. There we go, that's starting to come together. So I also 3D printed some wheels. I've actually printed 6 of them instead of 4. And so I can take a couple of those and fit them into the rear here. To hold the rear axle in place, I've just cut off the old axle pegs and glued them on there. They're not very straight, that support in the middle, but you're not going to see it anyway. So that just sits on there like that, like the old piece did. Right, so that's got the axle sorted, easy as. Here is a bull bar that I've printed. I designed this as well, just on a 3D app. You can see that just fits on the front there, so I'll glue that on. So here's how it's looking so far. Definitely starting to get there. Right, so here's the parts of our little dirt bike. They've been taken off the supports and cleaned up, and then I can use some super glue just to stick them all together. Here's our little dirt bike. I think that's looking a bit better than the one that was originally on there. So I want it to just go on the back there, but I'm going to need something to put it on. So I've just designed this really simple stand for it. Just a block that fits into that hole there. And a couple of little forks sticking out that I can sit the bike on. And so here are the other wheels that I've printed. They do have quite a fat hole at the back of them usually. They're Gaslands wheels from Thingiverse. So I usually have to end up using some of this styrene tube just to make a little bearing in there so that it fits more snugly on the axle. So you can see that fits in there nice and snug. I'll just cut it off. Okay, so that's the last bit of fabrication, and here are all of our parts ready for some paint. So I'll start out painting the casting, the truck casting. Gave it a base coat of silver. Next I've got some of this candy brown. And I'm going to spray the upper front end. It's a nice coppery sort of brown. I used some masking tape here to mask off the upper front end. Then I sprayed the rest of it all with some nice orange. I've taken the masking off there. It's a little bit of a rough line along there, but that doesn't matter too much because I've printed out some black stripes. And I'll just apply those. So here it is after the decals are applied, and I've also detailed the door handles and the rear lights there. And then I gave it a couple of coats of nice gloss clear. Here's the base. I've given that a nice fresh coat of silver. And then to finish that off, I'm just going to give it all a black wash. And this was sealed after it had all dried with a really light coat of matte varnish. Here's the interior parts. I've just painted those black. And they got a light coat of a satin varnish. You can see I've actually chopped the old steering wheel out and put the printed one in there as well. The wheels were painted black, and then I detailed the hubs in silver and then put a black wash over that. And then a very light coat of matte varnish to seal them. Here's the dirt bike. It's been given a base coat of silver. And then I've detailed it there. Right, so I think that's all the painting done. So that leaves one last thing to tackle, and that is this grotty looking old windscreen. I'm hoping it's not too bad to fix. So the first thing I'm going to do is to chop off the rear there, because we don't want that sticking out anymore. Next I gave it a wash in some soapy water. That's making it look a bit better. You can see there's still some quite sort of corroded bits on it. Inside of the side window is particularly bad. So I've got some 1200 grit sandpaper here, and I'm gonna give it all a good sanding down. Here it is after sanding, starting to look better. You can see it's all pretty opaque, so it's on to this polishing wheel and some plastic polish. And here it is after all of those treatments. I think it's looking pretty good. There's still some marks in it, but I think for what I started with, it's looking alright. And so here are all the parts of our little Hot Wheels Bronco, refurbished and ready to go back together as a Prerunner. So I just had to plonk the interior in there and then put the top and the windscreen on. Use a little button head screw to screw it all back together. And then I can use a little bit of glue to glue in the rear deck and the roll cage. And once that had dried, I could put in the spare wheels, and the little dirt bike can sit on the back like that. Right, so there we go, that's all done. Just before we take a look at the finished car, take a quick look back at what we started with. Here's our little Hot Wheels Bronco, looking a right mess, all the way over from Ken in America. So let's see what we can do with it. And here it is, our finished, restored and customized Bronco. Turned it into a Prerunner. Nice new shiny orange and brown paint job. I think that looks quite cool. Nice new wheels on it there. Couple of spares on the back. A big bull bar on the front there. And of course a nice new, way more detailed and I think more in scale motorcycle on the rear. I'm liking it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, thanks heaps to my Patreons. Thanks heaps to Ken for sending over the cars. And thanks heaps to you for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more similar stuff. There's some cool links in the description down below. Check those out. And take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.